I'm going to show you how to make this envelope budget in Google Sheets. With this template, you can set your total budget, create up to 10 categories that you can think of as digital envelopes. You can sort your money into those envelopes, track your spending, assign that spending to specific envelopes, and monitor exactly how much you have left to spend at any given time. Now, this template is great whether you're using it to track physical cash in your envelopes, or if you're simulating the envelope system using these as digital envelopes instead. Either way, let's build it. To create an envelope budget in Google Sheets, you need to set up a few key areas. First, you need a space to enter the total amount that you have to budget with. This would be equivalent to the money that you would pull out of the bank to stuff into your envelopes if you were using actual cash. You also need a space to keep track of your amount left to budget. You need a space for up to 10 envelope names, as well as spaces for the budget, remaining, and spent amounts. You want another column to create the charts as well. Then set up a line on the bottom to calculate the totals. And finally, you need 4 columns where you can track your spending transactions. Specifically, you want to track the date, envelope, notes, and amount for each transaction. Now, if you want to fast track the layout of the spreadsheet that you see here, you can download the start file using the link in the description. Either way, once you have the layout, go ahead and enter a total budget amount as well as some envelope names and budget amounts for each. And I want you to add some sample transactions as well. You can always change this information later, but the sample data will help you write your formulas and validate that they're working correctly. Once you have the sample data, let's first calculate the budget total below. Select the cell and enter the formula, equals, sum function, select all the budget amounts, close parentheses, and press enter. Now for the left to budget number up on top. Select the cell and enter the formula, equals, select the total budget on top, minus, and select the calculated budget total on the bottom. This gives you the difference between the total amount that you have available to budget and the total that you've budgeted so far using your envelopes. And the goal is to get this number to 0 whenever you're using the template. Next, let's calculate the spent amounts. Select the spending cell for your first envelope and enter the following formula. Equals, SUMIFS function, select the first cell in the amount column in the transactions table, add a colon, and then the column letter. This references every cell in this column starting from Q4 all the way down. Also, add $signs to make this an absolute reference. This will keep the reference from changing when we copy the formula here in a little bit. For now, move to the next argument, select the first cell in the envelope column, colon, the column letter, which is O, add $signs to this reference as well, move to the next argument, and select the cell with the first envelope name. Then close parentheses and press enter. Finally, use the blue dot here, called the fill handle, to copy the formula down for all of the envelopes. Now, this formula uses the SUMIFS function to add up amount values from the amount column where the selected envelope for those amounts matches the envelope here in C9. And that's how it works. Next, let's calculate the remaining amounts for each envelope. Start with the first one and enter equals, select the budget amount, minus, select the spent amount, and press enter. Then use the fill handle to copy the formula down. Awesome! All that's left now is the charts for each envelope. Start with the cell for the first envelope and enter the following formula. Equals, if function, D9 equals 0, next argument 0, next argument sparkline function, F9 through H9, next argument, open bracket, quote, chart type, quote, comma, quote, bar, quote, semicolon, quote, max, quote, comma, max function, D9 through D18, then add $signs to make this an absolute reference, close parentheses, semicolon, quote, color 1, quote, comma, quote, green, quote, semicolon, quote, color 2, quote, comma, quote, light gray, quote, close bracket, close parentheses, and press enter. By the way, if you live in a country where you typically use a comma as your decimal separator instead of a period, then your formula will look like this instead. Either way, this formula uses the sparkline function to create bar charts representing the remaining and spent numbers for this first envelope. Now, there's quite a bit to the sparkline function, so I've left a link in the description to a video explaining exactly how this function works. That way, you can check it out if you want to learn more. For now, though, once you have it working, use the fill handle to copy the formula down. Then to finish up, you can use the sum function to calculate the totals for the remaining column. And then do the exact same thing for the spent column like so. Awesome. Now, of course, we started this build using a start file that looked like this, so we didn't get a lot of time to discuss the colors, borders, and overall design. So, watch this video next where I'll show you exactly how to make your designs look just like this.